The Ideal Made Real, Chapter 13. To him that hath shall be given. The statement that much gathers more is true on every plane of life and in every sphere of existence, and the converse, that every loss leads to a greater loss, is equally true. Though we must remember that man can stop either process at any time or place. The further down you go, the more rapidly you will move towards the depths, and the higher up you go, the easier it becomes to go higher still. When you begin to gain, you will gain more, because to him that hath, more shall be given. When you begin to lose, you will lose more, because from him that hath not, even that which he has shall be taken away. This is a great metaphysical law, and being metaphysical, man has the power to use it in any way that he may desire. As man is in the within, so everything will be in his external world. Therefore, whether man is to lose or gain in the without depends upon whether he is losing or gaining in the within. The basis of all possession is found in the consciousness of man, and not in exterior circumstances, laws, or conditions. If a man's consciousness is accumulative, he will positively accumulate, no matter where he may live. But whether his riches are to be physical, intellectual, or spiritual will depend upon the construction of his mind. When the mind has the greatest development on the physical plane, an accumulative consciousness will gather tangible possessions. When the mind has the greatest development on the intellectual or metaphysical plane, an accumulative consciousness will gather abundance of knowledge and wisdom. When the mind has the greatest development on the spiritual plane, an accumulative consciousness will gather spiritual riches. However competent you may be on the physical plane, if your consciousness is not accumulative, you will not gain possession of a great deal of this world's goods. Likewise, no matter how diligently you may search for wisdom in the higher spiritual possessions, if your consciousness is not accumulative, you will gain but little. In fact, you will constantly lose the knowledge of truth on the one hand, while trying to gain it on the other. Therefore, to gain abundance in the world of things, or tangible possessions, the secret is to become competent in our chosen vocations, and then acquire an accumulative consciousness. To gain the riches of the mind and the soul, the secret is to develop the same accumulative consciousness and to consecrate all the powers of mind and thought to spiritual things. There are thousands in this age who have consecrated their whole lives to the higher state of being, but there are very few who have gained the real riches of the spiritual kingdom, and the reason is they have neglected the development of the accumulative consciousness. In other words, they have overlooked the great law, to him that hath, more shall be given. Those who have nothing will receive nothing, no matter how devotedly they may pray or how beautifully they may live. But to have is not simply to possess in the external sense. Those who are conscious of nothing have nothing. Those who are conscious of much have much, regardless of external possession. Before we can gain anything, we must have something, and to have something is to be conscious of something. We must be conscious of possession in the within before we can increase possession in any sphere of existence. All possession is based upon consciousness and is held by consciousness or lost by consciousness. All gain is the result of an accumulative consciousness. All loss is due to what may be termed the scattering consciousness, that is, that state of consciousness that lets go of everything that may come within its sphere. When you are conscious of something, you are among those that have, and to you shall be given more. As soon as you gain conscious hold of things, you will begin to gain possession of more and more things. As soon as you gain conscious hold upon wisdom and spiritual power, wisdom and spiritual power will be given to you in greater and greater abundance. As soon as you gain conscious hold upon wisdom and spiritual power, wisdom and spiritual power will be given to you in greater and greater abundance. On the other hand, when you begin to lose conscious hold of things, thoughts or powers, you will begin to lose more and more of those possessions until all are gone. When you inwardly feel that things are slipping away from you, you are losing conscious hold of things, and all will finally be lost if you do not change your consciousness. When you inwardly feel that you are gaining more and more, or that things are beginning to gravitate towards your sphere of existence, more and more will be given to you until you have everything that you may desire. How we feel in the within is the secret, and it is this interior feeling that determines whether we are to be among those that have or among those that have not. When you feel in the within that you are gaining more, you are among those that have, and to you more shall be given. When you feel in the within that you are losing what you have, you are among those that have not, and from you shall be taken away even that which you have. When we learn that mind is cause, and that everything we gain may come from the action of mind as cause, we discover that all possession is dependent upon the attitude of mind. And since we have the power to hold the mind in any attitude desired, all the laws of gain and possession are in our own hands. When this discovery is made, we begin to gain conscious possession of ourselves, and to him that has himself all other things shall be given. To feel that you, yourself, are the power behind other powers, and that you may determine what is to come and what is to go, is to become conscious of the fact that you are something. You thus become conscious of something in yourself that is real, that is substantial, and that is actually supreme in your world. To become conscious of something in yourself is to have something, and to have something is to gain more. Consequently, by gaining consciousness of that something that is real in yourself, you become one of those that hath, and to you shall be given. To gain consciousness of the real in yourself is to gain consciousness of the real in life, and the more you feel the reality of life, the more real life becomes. The result is that your consciousness of the reality of life becomes larger and larger. It comprehends more and takes in more. In other words, it is becoming accumulative. When this realization is attained, you gain conscious hold upon life and are gradually gaining conscious hold upon everything that exists in life. This means a greater and greater mastery of life, and mastery is always followed by an increase in possession. Whatever you become conscious of in yourself, that you gain possession of in yourself. Whatever you gain possession of in yourself, that you can constructively employ in your sphere of existence. And whatever is constructively employed is productive. It produces something. Therefore, by becoming conscious of something, you gain the power to produce something, and products on any plane constitute riches on that plane. The more you become conscious of it in yourself and in your life, the greater your power to create and produce in your sphere of action. And the more wealth you produce, the greater your possession, providing you have learned how to retain the products of your own talent. When we analyze these laws from another point of view, we find the consciousness of the real in ourselves produces an ascending tendency in the mind, and whenever the mind begins to go up, the law of action and reaction will continue to press the mind up further and further indefinitely. Every upward action of mind produces a reaction that pushes the mind upward still farther. As the mind is pushed upward, a second upward action is expressed that is stronger than the first. This in turn produces a second reaction, stronger than the first reaction, and the mind is pushed upward the second time, much farther than it was the first time. The fact is, when the mind enters the ascending scale, the law of action and reaction will perpetuate the ascension so long as the mind takes a conscious interest in the progress made. But the moment the mind loses interest in the movement, the law will reverse itself and the mind enters the descending scale. Therefore, become conscious of the law in yourself and take a conscious interest in every step in advance that you make, and you will go up in the scale of life continually and indefinitely. When the mind is in the ascending scale, it is steadily becoming larger, more powerful, and more competent, and will consequently be in demand where recompense is large and the opportunities more numerous. Such a mind will naturally gain step by step in rapid succession. To such a mind will be given more and more continually, because it has placed itself in the world of those who have. The great secret of gaining more, regardless of circumstances, is to continue perpetually to go up in mind. No matter how things are going about you, continue to go up in mind. Every upward step that is taken in mind adds power to mind, and this added power will produce added results in the tangible world. When these added results are observed, mind gains more faith in itself, and more faith always brings more power. On the other hand, when we permit ourselves to go down in mind, because things seem to go down, we lose power. This loss of power will prevent us from doing our work properly, or from using those things and conditions about us to the best advantage. In consequence, things will actually go down more and more, and if we permit this losing of ground to make us still more discouraged, we lose still more power, to be followed by still more adversity and loss. It is therefore evident that the way we go in mind, everything in our world will go also, and that if we change our minds and stay changed, everything else will change and stay changed. If we continue to go up in mind, never permitting retrogression for a moment, everything in our world will continue to go up, and there will not even be signs of reverse, much less the loss of anything which we wish to retain. When things seem to go wrong, we should stay right and continue to stay right, and things will soon decide to come and be right also. This is a law that works and never fails to work. When we permit ourselves to go wrong because things seem to go wrong, we produce what may be termed the letting go attitude of mind. And when we cease to hold on to things, things will begin to slip away. We must hold on to things ourselves if we wish to retain them for ourselves. And the secret of holding on to things is to continue positively in that attitude of mind that is perpetually going up into the larger and the greater. The laws of life will continue perpetually to give to those who have placed themselves in the receiving attitude, and those same laws will take away from those who have placed themselves in the losing attitude. When you create a turn in yourself, you will feel that things are also taking a turn to a degree. And if you continue persistently in this feeling, everything in your life will positively take the turn that you have taken. As you go, everything in your world will go, providing you continue to go. The law of action and reaction explains why. In the last analysis, however, everything depends upon whether consciousness determines how every force, element, power, or faculty is to act, because they are all controlled by consciousness. When your consciousness does not have the proper hold on things, the power of your being will fail to gain the proper hold on things. But when your consciousness does possess this holding power, all the powers of your being will gain the same firm grip upon everything with which they may have to deal. To establish the accumulative consciousness, that is, the consciousness that has complete hold on things, train yourself to inwardly feel that you have full possession of everything in your own being. Feel that you possess yourself. Affirm that you possess yourself. Think constantly of yourself as possessing yourself, everything that is in yourself, and you will soon be conscious of absolute self-possession. Some have this conscious feeling naturally, and they invariably gain vast possessions, either in tangible goods or in wisdom and higher spiritual powers. But everyone can develop this state of conscious possession of his whole self by remaining firm in the conviction that all that I am is mine. When you begin to feel that you possess yourself, you actually have something in consciousness, and according to the laws of gain and possessions, you will gain more and more without end. You are in the same consciousness with those who have, and to you will be given more. You have established the inner cause of possession through conscious possession of your entire inner life, and the effect of this cause, that is, the perpetual increase of external possession, must invariably follow. In brief, you have applied the great law, to him that hath himself, all other things shall be given. The Ideal Made Real, Chapter 14, The Life That Is Worth Living. To the average person, life means but little, because he has not discovered the greater possibilities or his real existence. He has been taught to think that to make a fortune or to make a name for himself are the only things worthwhile, and if he does not happen to have the necessary talent for these accomplishments, there is nothing much else for him to do but to merely exist. However, if he has been touched with the force of ambition, or if he has had a glimpse of the ideal, mere existence does not satisfy, and the result is a life of unhappiness and dissatisfaction. But such a person must learn that there are other openings and opportunities in life besides mere existence, regardless of what the mental capacity of the individual may be. These other opportunities, when taken advantage of, will give just as much happiness, if not more, than what is secured by those who have won the admiration of the world. Besides, when one learns to live for these other things, real living becomes a fine art, and he begins to live a life that is really worthwhile. There is many a person whose present position in life depends wholly upon his financial returns, and if these are small, with no indications of immediate increase, his life seems to be almost, if not wholly, a barren waste, not because it is a barren waste, but because he has not found the real riches of existence. The trouble with this person is the point of view. He is depending upon things instead of depending upon himself. He must learn that there is something more to live for besides his salary and what his salary can buy. The value of individual life is not measured by the quantity of possessions, but by the quality of existence. The value of life comes not from having much, but from being much, and happiness is invariably a state of mind coming not from what a person has, but from what he is. We must remember, however, that he who is much will finally gain much, providing the powers in his possession are practically applied, and his gains will have a high quality whether they be gains in the world of things or in the world of mind, consciousness, and soul. The problem for the average person to solve is what he actually can do with himself in his present position. He may not be earning much now, and his opportunities for earning more may not be clearly in evidence, but he is nevertheless living in a great sea of opportunities, many of which may be taken advantage of at once. The first of these is the opportunity to make of himself a great personality, and in taking advantage of this opportunity, he should remember that to do great things in the world is not the only thing worthwhile. To be great in the world is of equal, if not greater worth, and he who is now becoming great in his own life will, without fail, do great things in years to come. The majority of those who have practical capacity are making strenuous efforts to do something great, something startling that will arrest the attention of the world, while those who do not possess this practical capacity are not satisfied because they are not similarly favored. In the meantime, neither class gains happiness, and the best forces of life are employed in the making of things, most of which are valueless, while the making of great personalities is postponed to some future time. The capacity to make great things is not the only capacity of value in the possession of man, but all minds do not possess this capacity. All minds, however, do possess the power to remake themselves in the exact likeness of all that is great and beautiful and ideal. Begin now to rebuild your personality and proceed in the realization of the fact that you have the power to produce an edition deluxe out of your own present personal self. You could hardly find a purpose of greater interest and of greater possibility than this, and results will be secured from the very beginning. To find your own personality passing through a transformation process, bringing out into expression the finest and the best that you can picture in your ideals, is something that will add immensely to the joy and the worth of living. In fact, this alone would make life not only worth living, but so rich that every moment would become a source of unbounded satisfaction in itself. The average person usually asks himself how much money he can make during the next 10 years. But why should he not ask himself how much happiness he can enjoy during those same years? Or how much brilliancy he can develop in his mind? Or how much more beautiful he may become in body, character, and soul? He would find that by living for these latter things, he would not only perpetually enrich his life and live a life that is thoroughly worth living, but he would find that the earning of money would become much easier than if he simply lived for material gain alone. The ambition of the average person is to do something great in the world of things. But why is he not ambitious to do something great in the perfecting of his own being, the most wonderful world in the universe? Such ambitions are truly worth living for and working for, but our attention has not been called to their extraordinary possibilities. Therefore, we have neglected the greater while wasting most of our energies on the lesser. There are a number of ambitions outside of the usual ones that could engage our attention with the greatest of profit, because they not only have worth in themselves, but they lead to so many other things that have worth. The desire to secure as much out of life as life can possibly give will not only make living intensely interesting, but the more life a person can live, the more power he will get. Live a great life and you gain great power. The increase of your power will enable you to carry out a number of other ambitions, thus adding to the richness of your life from almost every imaginable source. When a person declares that his greatest ambition is to live, he is taking the most interesting, the most satisfying, the most profitable, and the most complete course in life that can possibly be selected. Living itself, when made a fine art, is one continuous feast, and the fact that all increase of power comes from the increase of life makes the ambition to live not only the greatest ambition of all, but the means through which all other ambitions may be realized. If your present life does not hold as much as you would wish, do not think of it as an empty state of existence. Do not depend upon those few things that you are receiving from the external world, but begin to draw upon the limitless life and power that exists in the vastness of your interior world. Then you will find something to live for. Then you will begin to live a life that is thoroughly worthwhile. Then you will find the real riches of existence, and you will also find that these riches will so increase your personal power and worth that you will be able to take advantage of those opportunities that lead to things of tangible worth. When the world of things does not seem to hold any new opportunities for you, resolve to grow more and more beautiful in body, in character, and soul with the passing of the years. Make this your ambition, and if you do your utmost to carry out this ambition, you will gain far more satisfaction from its realization than if you had amassed an immense fortune. Live to express in body, mind, and soul all that is high and beautiful and ideal in your sublime nature, and you will not only give yourself unbounded joy, but you will become a great inspiration to the world. The life that is not expressed through the beautiful, nor surrounded by the beautiful, is not worth a great deal to the mind of man, but there is practically no end to the joy and richness that man may gain through that which is actually beautiful. The beautiful not only gives happiness, but it opens the mind of man to those higher realms from which proceed all that is worthy or great or ideal. To look upon the beautiful is to gain glimpses of that vast transcendent world where supreme life is working out the marvelous destiny of man. Therefore, there can be no greater ambition than to live for the purpose of giving higher and more ideal expression to the life of that sublime world. To give expression in personal life to the great riches of the interior world is worth far more both to yourself and to the race than it is to gain possession of any number of things in the external world. The man who simply gains wealth never gains happiness. Besides, he is soon forgotten. But the man who will live for the purpose of giving expression to mental and spiritual wealth will gain unlimited happiness, and his life will be so illustrious that his name will never be forgotten. And remember that no matter how insignificant your position in life may be today, or how small your income, or how limited your opportunities, you can begin this moment to give expression to the vast riches of your interior life, and before you take your departure from this sphere, you may become such a great light in the world of higher illumined attainment that your accomplishments in this unique sphere of action will continue to inspire the world for ages yet to come. To live for the purpose of developing the gold mines of the mind and the diamond fields of the soul are ambitions that might engage the attention of millions who have found no satisfaction in the world of things. And to those who will make these their leading ambitions, a rich future is certainly in store. And in addition, the present will be filled to overflowing with almost everything that can give interest and happiness to life. To develop a charming personality, to live a long life, to live a happy life, and to retain your health, your youth, and your vigor as long as you live, these are ambitions that anyone can work for with the greatest interest and profit. And to him who will accomplish these things, the world will give more honor than it has given to its greatest musicians, its most brilliant orators, or its most illustrious statesmen. To live for the purpose of unfolding the latent powers of your being is a work that will not only prove interesting to an exceptional degree, but will prove exceedingly rich in future possibilities. That there is practically no end to the possibilities that are latent in man is now the firm conviction of all real psychologists. Therefore, we need not weep because there are no more worlds to conquer. We are on the borderland of greater worlds than were ever dreamed of by the most illumined seers that the world has ever known. We need not feel discouraged because our position in life seems uninteresting or insignificant. We have opportunities at our very door that are so great and so numerous that it will require an eternity to take advantage of them all. Though the external world may not as yet have given us much to live for, the internal world stands ready to lavish upon us so much that is rich and marvelous that not a single moment need be otherwise than a feast fit for the gods. The doors of this internal world are open, and he who will walk in will begin to live a life that is great indeed. When we look into life as life really is, there is so much to live for, and there is so much to accomplish and attain that even eternity seems too short. The problem to solve is to know the greatest thing we can do now, and the solution may be found by resolving to live for that which is nearest at hand, whatever that may be. Accept the greatest opportunity that you can take advantage of now, and then begin to live for the working out of everything that that opportunity may contain. Do not long for opportunities that are out of reach. The majority do this and thus waste their time. Do not wait for opportunities to do great things. The opportunity to make of yourself a great soul, a marvelous mind, and a higher developed personality is at hand, and by taking advantage of this opportunity, you will awaken within yourself those powers that can do great things. You will thus cause your present to become all that you may wish it to be. You will build for a future that which will be nothing less than extraordinary, and you will be living a life that is thoroughly worth living in the great eternal now. You will be making the ideal real at every step of the way, but every moment will lead you into worlds that are richer and realms that are fairer than you ever dreamed of before. It is therefore evident that when we learn to live the life that is really worth living, there is no reason whatever why a single moment should be dull, empty, or uninteresting in the life of any person, because there is so much to live for that has real worth, so much to enjoy that holds real enjoyment, so much to do that is thoroughly worth doing. Besides, the whole of life, when actually lived, is eternally alive with interest, ever revealing the splendor of its vast transcendent domains. And he who aims to live for the purpose of gaining the realization of and the possession of as many spheres of this life as possible will find full expression for every ambition and every aspiration that he can possibly arouse in his mind. Life to him will be a continuous feast, and existence will become an endless advancement into the highest attainments and the greatest achievements that even the most illustrious minds can picture as its goal.